What's going on YouTube? My name is Johnny. I just wanted to show you guys the Python module Argparse, how to use it, and why I like to use it so much. So we're going to create a simple program here to calculate the volume of a cylinder. So to do that, we'll import the math package to get pi. We'll create a simple function called cylinder volume. We'll pass in two arguments, radius and height. Calculate the volume of that cylinder and return the volume. So if we wanted to run this program, if name equals main, let's print out a cylinder with volume, or with radius 2 and let's say height 4. So if we jump over here, let's run this program, Argparse demo. Alright, so we get a volume of 15.265. So jump over here to Google, test this out. Alright, so it looks like our program works. I would say a much better way to do this would be using the Argparse module, and I'll show you why. Import Argparse. So the first thing we're going to do is create a parser. So this is basically a container to hold our arguments. So we'll give it a description. Calculate volume of a cylinder. Volume. Okay, and then we will add an argument inside of this parser. Radius. We're going to specify the type as an integer. The default value is a string, however we need an integer to calculate this value. We'll give it a help as well to describe this argument. We'll do the same thing for height. Alright, so now we just have to parse these args. Parser.parseArgs. Alright, so down here we just need to do args.radius, args.height. We're using args because we parsed the args and gave it the variable args. Then radius here for this first positional argument, height here for the second positional argument. So let's run this program up here. So radius of 2, height of 4. Alright, so we get the same volume. Let's say we were to do 4, 2. That'd be a different volume because these are positional arguments. If we use our help flag, we can see the description and we can see that they're positional arguments. The radius must go first, the height second. So that's what positional arguments are. I would say optional arguments are much better to use in this situation. To do that, we just need to do dash dash. So that's the long notation. You need to have the long notation. It's also good to have a shorthand notation. So just little r, and then big H because the little h is already reserved for the help flag. So let's try this again. Radius 2, height 4. Alright, so we're getting the same volume. Because these are flags, we could do it in any order we want. You can see we get the same thing there. We go to our help flag. You can see they're now optional arguments. They were positional arguments. So using flags, using optional arguments, really good way to do things. As you can see, the help menu is a little cluttered. I like to clean that up using metavar equals an empty string. Metavar equals an empty string. Metavar equals. Alright, so if we see on the help flag, it's a little cleaner there. So because these are optional arguments, if you specify one, it will just run through the program. When it's optional, if you don't specify an argument, it will give it a value of none. So that's why we're seeing float and none type. Let's try to multiply 2 with none, and we're getting an error. So a good way to prevent this, make this more clear, required equals true. So let's try this here. Alright, so as you can see, argument height is required. Alright, so the last thing I wanted to show you guys are mutually exclusive arguments. So let's create a container for that. Add mutually exclusive group. We're going to add 2 arguments to this group. The action is store true, meaning when you give it an action of store true, the default becomes false, and then when you call this flag, it will be given a value of true. So help print quiet. We're going to do the same thing for a second argument, but we will call this verbose. Alright, to show you what this is doing, I'm going to change a few things here. Give the volume a variable name of volume. If args.quiet, we will simply print this volume. If args.verbose, I'm going to print out a message here. Volume, so if it's verbose, we're going to print out volume of a cylinder with radius and height is whatever that volume may be. And then if we don't specify either quiet or verbose, we're going to print volume of cylinder equals whatever that volume is. So that's how mutually exclusive arguments work. You don't need to specify either. You could specify one, but you cannot specify more than one. So if we added arguments to this group, we can only specify one. Quiet and verbose are commonly used. Quiet just meaning you print out one little thing, such as the answer. Verbose meaning you print out a lot more things, such as the arguments you specified, being radius and height here. So let's give this a shot. So radius 2, height 4, because the volume of a cylinder, we get our 50.265. If we specify quiet, we're just going to get the volume there. If we specify verbose, we're going to see volume of a cylinder with radius 2 and height 4 is equal to our 50.265. Alright, so that's the Python module Argparse. I highly recommend using it. It's used all the time in industry. You can quickly run programs on your command line. You can use the help flag to see exactly what you need to pass into your program, and you don't need to change things in the original program, which can be messy. It's dangerous as well. So I highly recommend learning it. I'm going to post a link in the descriptions to the documentation for the Argparse library. I encourage you to look through it and run through the tutorial. Comment below if you have any questions. Thanks so much, guys.